Hi, this is Phil Spencer, and you're listening to the Inner Circle Podcast. For the fans, by the fans.
Welcome, Geoff, to Tick Podcast. We really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. As you know, we know that you don't do many interviews, so for us, it's a very special opportunity. Unfortunately, our co-host Bmuny won't be able to make the show, but he sends his regards and says hi. Now, many of the fans know you from the Video Game Awards show as the host, and the older guys know you from GTTV and G4. But tell us how you got started in the industry and what made you decide to produce the VGA Awards.
Well, first of all, guys, thanks so much for inviting me on.
It's a pleasure.
Excited to be on the podcast, and you've had some great guests, and it's an honor to be with you guys and talk directly to the community. My background, it's a long and sordid tale, but it started actually when I was a teenager growing up in Canada. I was a big fan of games. I played a lot of adventure games on my personal computer in my family room with my brother, and we played Space Quest, King's Quest, a lot of the LucasArts games, and I was a big fan of those games. So one day I just took it upon myself to write a letter and put it in the mail like people used to, put a stamp on it, and sent it to Oakers, California, where Sierra Online was located. And I wrote them a letter saying, I love your games. I want to know about how you make them. And to my surprise, a couple weeks later, I got a letter back from Sierra, a producer there named Gano Hain, and she said, hey, that's awesome. You sound like you really like our games. How about becoming a beta tester for our game? And she included a couple discs for one of their upcoming games. And I started.
That's crazy.
Yeah, crazy, exactly. Wouldn't happen today. I don't think if you sent a letter to Phil Spencer, I wouldn't send you back at beta Halo 5. But you never know. You guys are very close with Phil, so maybe you get a special exception. But
maybe.
You got to ask, right?
Right.
So they started sending me beta versions of games, and I got to play them. That's really how I got exposed to the industry, got to know a lot of the amazing people working in the industry as game developers, and really grew to respect the craft of making games. So from there, I just started writing about games. I started covering games. And because I was beta testing these games, I knew a lot about how to get through them. So I was a great guy on CompuServe, one of the early internet services, to give out tips about games. So I became this sort of legend that knew how to get through Gabriel Knight from Sierra because I had beta tested it. So eventually editors saw my coverage online and said, hey, we'd love you to write for our magazines. And that's really where it all began. And then I did writing for a number of years, and then started to move into television with Electric Playground and Victor Lucas, and sort of probably around the year 2000.
Okay, yeah. So you got your start through Sierra, essentially.
Yeah,
I was into gaming.
Exactly. I was a volunteer beta tester. I didn't get paid or anything, but it was just as a kid. I was 14 years old, and got to do that. And it was fun. So that was really my first exposure. And then got to go to the first E3 in 1995 and things like that. So it's kind of crazy. It's been 20 plus years of covering games.
Did we not have Ken? Ken got his start with Sierra, right?
No, Ken got his start with. He got his start with Namco, I believe.
Yep. Oh, with Namco, but he did some work with Sierra. I know. I think it was. Yeah.
I thought he did Atari, and then I think he went to. No, he got rejected by Atari. And then I think he went to Namco.
I think he had some work after that with Sierra.
It might have been. Ken is a legend. He's been everywhere.
Someone
I remember Ken when
has been there.
Oh yeah, when some of the early E3s, he would always be on stage with Mr. Miyamoto demonstrating games at the Nintendo press conferences. So yeah, Ken is a legend.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
So the VGA Awards, obviously a lot of us have been really into the VGA Awards, man. I really want to thank you for doing that, because that's one thing that I always said to myself, you get so many different magazines that give awards out to game developers, or they have their award ceremonies, but there's nothing kind of like an Emmy or a Grammy awards for the industry. And I really felt that the VGAs really started to go that route. Now, I'm going to be honest. Early on at Spike TV, I really thought it was awesome. and then you had some up and downs and things like that. I'm not sure what happened there, but tell us how you came up with the idea for the VGAs, and do you have something special planned for this year?
Yeah, sure. So tell you a bit about that. First of all, the VGAs was something that Spike came up with back in 2003. There was a guy named Albie Hecht who was the really founder of Spike TV, and before they even started the network, they decided they wanted to make a video game awards show. And I was, at the time, I was a writer for Entertainment Weekly, and I remember in 2003 going to Las Vegas with a bunch of people from Electronic Arts and being at this video game awards show. And I was blown away. I wasn't really even involved in the first one. I was just a guest, but I thought it was so cool that a big TV network wanted to put on this big party and celebration for the video game industry. And then over the years, I became more involved with it. I worked at G4 for a number of years, and then I started working at Spike. And they started to bring me in to get more involved in video game awards, and had an amazing time working with Albie and the team at Spike building up the VGAs. Last year I didn't work with Spike. I didn't do a video game awards. I did something called the Game Awards, which was sort of this new approach to an award show for the video game industry. It was something that I put on myself. I financed it myself, and really wanted to build sort of a show for the next generation of our industry. And a lot of that is on digital platforms. So, I'd done a television show for many years tied to games. Well, now, through YouTube and Twitch and Xbox Live, there's so many ways. Yeah. So many avenues to see this stuff. So I said, hey, I no longer have to worry about distribution. I know that's going to be there. I just want to make a great show. So that's what I tried to do. I worked with all the, everyone in the game industry. They all came together, put competition aside. Phil Spencer was on our board, much like, Reggie from Nintendo and Sean from PlayStation. And we all came together and said, let's make an award show for our industry. I was honored that everyone, backed me and supported me. And I tried to do a show that was really made for the gamer. And, one of the challenges when you're doing a television show is that you have to do something that tries to appeal to the masses. So you have to, it's not just for the core gamer. Well, the thing is now, core gamers, it's a massive audience. And there are a lot of people that play games, a lot of people that want a great video game awards show. And I just tried to do something that was a show I personally wanted to make. And it may not have been particularly mainstream, some people would say, but it was something that I thought gamers would really respond to. And I think they did, and it was really, it was great. So we did it last year. It was really successful. And, the show will be back this December, and I'm really excited about what we're putting together.
It definitely was an improvement over the previous one. I mean,
thank you. Yeah, no, it was.
I mean, you did really well, and I didn't really know the backstory to that. I thought Spike still had something to do with it. I didn't know that.
No, Spike was, did Video Game Awards, and we did something called VGX that I hosted with Jim McHale was the last thing that I did with Spike. And then, last year, I'm still working with Spike on some stuff, and they're a great network. But, they're focusing on some other things right now and other audiences. So, the video game audience is really moving towards the online platform, and it was great to be able to do it. Do something that was successful and build from there. So sorry we didn't have more Xbox stuff in there, but Phil and I are working to get some good stuff in there this year, I think.
Yeah, because we were actually talking about that earlier.
Yeah, we were.
Me and Mike was like, dude, we got to ask him, why was it not enough Xbox format in last year's show? Xbox deserved more representation at that show last year. It was funny. I will say, what I will say about that, and I can't really get into a ton of it, but it's, the show happens every year, and there's some years where some people are bigger. Nintendo had a really great year last year at the awards. Sony had their PlayStation experience. It's, it's cyclical. And, Xbox had a lot of games.
Xbox is going to have a big presence this year. I'm going to flip.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, we'll find out at E3 some of the games they have and what their release schedules are. But, I don't mean to speak for Phil, but I think, everyone would have loved to have seen, it's also when you say Xbox presence, it's really, first-party presence, right?
Right.
There were tons of games that were available on Xbox. Major Nelson was there. There were tons of fans. I mean, Xbox was a big supporter of the show. I just think, when people say that, they want to see a big, first-party Xbox game
that's what we mean.
as part of the show. And, I think that's the thing is, it's not Sony every year doesn't have a game there. Nintendo, for many years didn't have anything at the show. Then they had two big things last year. So, it's just a function, I think, of, the timing and what games are coming out. And, you look at Xbox's slate this year, they haven't really shipped a lot of, first-party games so far this year. It's all going to come later in the year. So, and you saw Quantum Break, that moved to next year. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we do something with Quantum Break. I mean, there's, we'll have to see. But believe me, not to say that anything is settled at all, really, about that. But it does seem like they do have games coming in 2016 that I'd love to have there. So, we'll get into those conversations with Phil and the team there, probably after E3, because everyone is very focused on E3 right now.
Right.
Okay, yeah, it's decided, man. We're going to get Quantum Break, and we're going to have Quantum Break at the show at the end of the year.
We had it actually at VGX like 2 years ago. So
right.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a world premiere.
The thing I will say is that with that show, I mean, we had such a history at Spike of announcing new games there that I think everyone, becomes a sport almost to guess, like, what's going to get announced, what are they going to say, and, sometimes we have big surprises, but also it should just be an opportunity for developers to come and showcase the state of the art, these great new games that they're working on that they're excited about. So, I would welcome a new announcement from any company. I'd welcome an update on a really big game with great new content. So we'll have to see. It's always tough because we always want more. As Reggie at Nintendo says, gamers have this insatiable appetite for, what's next, show us the next thing. And, we'll have to see. It's just every year you can't necessarily guarantee that content is going to be there and is going to be ready to showcase. And the last thing I ever want to do is force developers to show games before they're ready. I mean, there's lots of things you guys don't know about those awards where, like, a game was maybe going to be there and then, a week or two before they're like, we're not ready. We can't show it. I'm not going to force people to show up. So there's a lot of intricacies to what happens inside of that show. But, I'm a big fan of the Xbox platform and a big fan of games in general. So, would love to make sure the Xbox fans have things to get excited about.
I did appreciate last year's show because a lot of the world premieres you showed were indie games. But a lot of the indie games were really great-looking indie games. Adrift was an amazing-looking game.
Oh, man, yeah.
And seeing it for the first time at the show was like, wow, that was really cool. So I look forward to it this year. Obviously the fans always want AAA.
Yeah.
But,
Well, no, but I would say, like No Man's Sky is a great example of a game that, I found that was, now is sort of probably considered a AAA game, but was
that's a borderline game for sure.
Exactly, and that was that was a small team when they started. So I get really excited about indie games inside of that show. And the other good thing with our show is that Game Awards, it's not aligned to one platform. So I think a lot of these indies sometimes in order to be on stage they have to pick like, hey, I'm going to be with this platform or that platform. And what's great about our stage is that it's agnostic. Like, if you're just making a cool indie game and, great content, I'm happy to have you up there, and you don't need to, be exclusive with one platform or another. I just look for great content. So, we're going to do a lot of great stuff with indie games this year. We're actually going to do a really cool opportunity for sort of indie developers to actually kind of submit and talk to us directly about their games. And I'm going to do a lot more this year to sort of really cultivate and find some gems. And so if you're an indie developer listening to this, thinking about, I want to make a game, I want to debut it in a big way, we're gonna actually have a really cool partnership with someone that we can't talk about yet that's actually going to help us bring these indie games even more to the surface in December. So stay tuned for that.
I'm excited about that.
Thanks, guys.
So Geoff, we're in the early years of a new generation, and some fans have felt that the new consoles aren't next-gen enough. Others have been pretty happy so far with some of the awesome games we've gotten over the last year. But since the start of the new generation, what has been your favorite game so far?
Wow. That's a good question. The generation has started off, I would say, yes, that it's a little bit slower than some previous generations. I think back to last gen, and there were some, truly incredible games towards the start of the cycle. And even, like BioShock, I think was maybe it was year 2 of the cycle.
Yeah,
and that was a big moment I remember for like the Xbox 360 era. So far, I think a best game of the new generation. There've been some good games. I think the games that have spoken to me, the most are probably like you look at Last of Us or Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean, those were games that were on last gen and then got upgraded for this gen. So I'm trying to think of like if there's that one game that's sort of a definitive game across for this new generation. And honestly, I can't think of the one that sort of stands out to me. I mean, I think there've been some cool games. Bloodborne is, I've only just started playing it, but that feels like a really, powerful game for next-gen platforms. And, Xbox, like I thought Sunset Overdrive was a really fun game that they put out on the platform that worked really well. So
yeah, it's been received really well for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That was big. Titanfall I had a lot of fun with. That was a game that really, spoke to me as well. Destiny, I think, is a game that, will grow into something really great over time. So they've been good games. But yeah, I don't know if there's been that one game that is like, this is the game of the generation. And to your point, I think you're very, adeptly pointed out that the leap from last generation to this generation hasn't been as much as previous generations. But look, I mean, we went from
Right.
standard definition graphics to high definition graphics last generation. This year, it's like, or this generation, we got, better graphics and more nuanced physics and better online play. But it hasn't been the same type of leap. And that's why I say, like, Grand Theft Auto 5 on the new boxes is an incredible game. It just happens to be a game that you can also play on the previous systems.
Okay. Well, what would you say is your most anticipated game so far this gen?
Good question. I would say I'm really excited about Batman that's coming out in June. I think the Rocksteady guys, Sefton Hill is an incredible designer, and I'm really excited to sort of see what they do for their final installment in Batman. So I'm excited about that one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious to see more about what's happening with Halo. I haven't really seen much of anything on that game, and Halo 5, we have a release date now at the end of October, so I'll be very interested to see what 343 is doing. The Halo beta I thought was okay, but I mean, I really want to see like the campaign. I'm very much a story-driven campaign guy, and what we've seen of the sort of first tease of Locke and Master Chief and that sort of interplay between the two. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do there, and like how much of the game do you play as Master Chief, how much do you play as Locke. So I mean, I'm excited about that. Uncharted, obviously, Uncharted 4, I think is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, it got pushed back to 2016, man.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, coming in 2016, they said. So that one will be pushed out a little bit. I'm excited. Today we're recording this. Black Ops 3 is official from Treyarch. Curious to see what those guys are going to do with that one. So there's a lot of great stuff coming out over the next year. It's a little dry right now. That's why I'm excited about Batman, because it'll be a big sort of summer game. Witcher also, I'm curious to play in May. But this fall it's going to be a lot of amazing stuff. So we'll have to see what the big one is. It's kind of a wide open race right now for for what would be game of the year. But we're only a quarter in, and I would say probably out of the first 3 months, my favorite games have been Bloodborne and Ori.
Sweet.
All right, that's good choices, man.
Yeah,
Right.
I just read actually that the Move Studios, because Ori has been so successful, they're already working on new games. So I'm very excited about that. I thought that the Halo 5 commercials were chilling. I really love the concept, and obviously a lot of people feel 343 messed up Halo. I'm not one of those guys, but I really want to see big team battle. In multiplayer, like, it's cool to have the 4-on-4, it's good to have Slayer and the SWAT type games and things like that. But big team to me is where it's at, especially a guy who has a clan. Big team is where it's at. Capture the flag, detonation, big maps like Valhalla. Like, I want to be on those maps, driving Warthogs, shooting people and things like that. Just getting a feel for how that is. I have faith in the story. I actually like Halo 4 story a lot. I felt that it was the right direction to go, because you didn't focus really enough on the Flood, because the first 3 stories was about the Covenant and trying to stop them from activating the Halo rings. But then going on to the Forerunners and the Prometheans, and I think reintroducing that, the loss of Cortana, it makes sense for him to go AWOL. I don't know why he's considered a traitor. I'm not sure why the UNSC has sent Locke after him, but you add that dynamic in with what we played in Halo 4. I think they got a special game this year.
The story is going to be deep, man.
Yeah, I think it's going to
be
the
deepest
really
it's ever been.
Right, and that's the thing is, like, playable Locke and how that interfaces with Master Chief. It's always an interesting storytelling technique, and you remember back Halo 2, Arbiter and things like that, and sort of that switch and playing a different protagonist or a different character can be really interesting. So yeah, I'm curious to see where they go with it. And again, I haven't really seen much of anything on that game. But I assume E3 will be a big beat for that. And you guys are going to be, you'll be at the press conference, right?
We'll be at the press conference, yes. We'll be
Then my question is, do you think, is Phil Spencer going to wear a Inner Circle shirt on stage? Have you asked him about that yet?
We would, we wanted to keep that a secret because we were actually going to try to get him to wear a Tick Podcast t-shirt. Just like, hey, listen, even if you get like a 30-second, 15-second shot of you rocking a Tick Podcast t-shirt would be so awesome for Tick Podcast.
You think he's going to do it?
I doubt it.
We don't know.
Why not?
I doubt it. I don't think Phil would do it. I don't think he would do it.
Yeah.
Why not? I think he's a fan of the podcast.
I think he is too. I mean, look, our goal obviously is we love doing what we're doing because we love Xbox, we love the community. We're not, biased gamers in any type of way as far as hardcore bias, like, super fanboys, but we do prefer the Xbox platform. I'm not going to lie about that.
Will you be attending the other press conferences?
They told us that in order for us to attend any of the other ones, we would have to send out a request to attend them because it's like by invite only.
Right.
So, we'll reach out to EA, we'll reach out to, Ubisoft and things like that. I don't know if we'll reach out to Sony. That's not something our fans would agree with.
Can't be spotted at the Sony press conference.
No, it can't be spotted at the Sony press conference. That's not going to happen.
Disowned, man.
Not part of the Inner Circle.
Yeah, not part of the Inner Circle. No.
Adam Boys is not invited.
No. But definitely Xbox. Definitely some of the maybe the big third-party companies. Activision, Ubisoft, EA. We'll see if we can get into some of those. And I would love to talk to Phil. I have this idea. Since I have you, do you think this is a good idea? I have an idea. This is my idea that I pitched to Phil. Right? I feel that Xbox. Phil has an opportunity to create Xbox Radio. It's a voice over IP radio station app that the Xbox has. You have an opportunity to play video game soundtracks because people love video game music. They really do, right? Yeah. And then at the same time, you can have guys on like Major Nelson. Obviously, Unbiased. Tick Podcast should be the podcast for that channel, obviously. But, we can put all of our interviews on there. We can get all the inside scoops. And then the great thing about it is that we're fans. That's the great thing about it. We're fans. People know that we're fans, know that we're gamers. And, our whole purpose of being the Inner Circle in the first place is to be the voice of the fans. The fans have questions that guys, that they can't ask some of the executives. That's why we're here.
So I was going to say, what is, when you're in the Inner Circle, what does that mean? It means you've got a close ability to talk to people at Xbox, or if I'm in the Inner Circle, what does that mean?
Basically what it is exactly what it sounds like.
It kind of goes both ways.
Yeah, it's like you're in this circle.
In the club.
Right, in the club, exactly. Yep. We're the Inner Circle of the
Have you ever
Xbox.
Have you ever kicked anyone out of the club?
No. Well, we've been trying to get Major Nelson in. First of all, I met Major Nelson at PAX East. Okay, I talked to him. I asked him to come on the show. He told me to talk to Greenberg and things like that. Obviously, we haven't heard anything from Major. Major's kind of like.
So he's not in the circle right now.
No. I would like Major Nelson to come on. I would like Major to come on the show, definitely, but I don't think he would. Once
I'm in the circle, is there any way out of the circle, or I'm always in the circle?
No, you're always in the circle. Once you're in, there's no getting out, Jeff. I mean, that's it, man.
Unless he just tells us he wants out. Let's just message and say, I want to leave.
Stuck.
Can
I be in the Xbox Inner Circle? Is there a PlayStation Inner Circle, or I have to pick?
It's only an Xbox Inner Circle. There's a PlayStation Inner Circle does not exist. No disrespect to the PlayStation fans, but no, it's only an Xbox Inner Circle as of right now. But yeah, I mean, look, obviously we would love to be the official podcast for Xbox. I mean, who wouldn't want that dream? I'm sure there's not one Xbox podcaster out there that if Phil came to them and said, "Hey, I want to make you the official podcast for Xbox," wouldn't say yes. Let's just be realistic here. But obviously you have Major, who does his podcast thing. But I just think we're a little different because I think we're just, as fans, we just have a different perspective. And I think that we could appeal to the fans a lot better than maybe some of the guys that are looked at as executives. That's just my opinion, though. So I don't know.
So have you given your pitch to Phil yet?
No, not yet. Maybe he'll listen to the show and he'll consider it or he'll think about it.
That could be maybe an announcement for you guys at E3 on stage.
That would be a megaton for us. I can tell you right now, a lot of people wouldn't even know who Tick Podcast is. I walked around past, he's like, "Hey, my name is Lynn from Tick Podcast." They were like, "Who?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get that a lot." But you never know. I mean, as
we're just getting started.
Yeah, we're just getting started. We're just babies in this right now. We're just growing.
Well, you guys have grown a lot, and you're booking good guests.
We've done a lot of stuff really fast, though.
I was gonna say, like, you've had everyone at Microsoft. I feel like next is gonna have to be Satya, the CEO, right?
Yeah, I mean, I thought about it. I thought about that and Bill Gates. We awesome if they came on. I mean,
together.
Yeah, no, it would be really, really awesome if that ever happened. I can tell you that much. I think if we ask him, he just might do it. These guys seem like nice people, man.
Yeah?
I think they're down.
You should throw him a tweet, see if he says yes.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll definitely reach out and see if we can get the CEO of Microsoft on the show. How big would that be?
Be big.
That would be huge.
That would be huge, yeah.
He'd be in the inner circle.
Talk about the future of the Xbox brand.
No, yes. that would make sense. That would definitely make sense.
Yes, yeah. It would be a great combo.
So, what are you most disappointed by so far this generation?
Well, I would say, I mean, it's not a specific title, but I think just generally the sense that a lot of games have come out, I feel sort of unfinished. And, I remember the old days of the console business where sort of what you got on the disc was it had to be ready because you couldn't patch it. And now I see so many of these games come out and, you download this crazy patch. And it's just disappointing to me as a gamer, like on Steam, on PC, it's like, things updated in the background, but it's like there's been so many times I want to put a game in my Xbox, it's like, oh my God, here's the update, or, here's the firmware update. And it just feels like there's so many constant updates. I want a quick fix of a game, right? That's what I get with my phone. I can just, tap on a game, here we go. And, it just feels like a lot of these games, there's so many patches, like Assassin's Creed. When I tried to play that, it's like every time, it's like, here's, there's problems, and here's a gigabyte patch, here's that. And, even, Halo.
Let's not get started on that one.
Yeah, and just all these games. So I think just generally it's been disappointing that a lot of games, and I don't think it's any specific game we have to call it. Assassin's probably was, not a great example, but there were a lot of games I think that are just coming out and they need a lot of patches, 20 gigs I think you have to download or something. So that's just generally a trend that is disappointing, for gamers, because I think, games need to be easier and easier to access. And the challenge a lot of these consoles face now is that in the mobile space, it's very easy to download this stuff. It's right at your fingertips. Same thing with Steam on the PC. And, I think it's an issue that both Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo will face, is about really improving the user experience. So if you want a quick fix of a game, you can, just get it.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, look, that's just how the generation has been. We're in this generation of Microsoft tried to start the online all the time console. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it seems like it's gone through anyway. It seems like every console and every game is online only. I mean,
I would.
They snuck it in there.
They snuck it in there.
No, the vision that Don Matrick and Microsoft outlined, was ahead of its time. But it's like I look at Apple, like when they first decided to say, hey, we're not going to put a CD, a DVD or CD-ROM in a MacBook, and people were like, what are they talking about? And now it's like most notebooks, you don't need a CD drive. I actually had a CD. I was looking for some old photos of something. I'm like, I actually don't have a CD player in my place anymore.
Right.
Because all my computers don't have drives. And Microsoft's, as you said, that vision of kind of always on, always connected, is sort of what's happening. The challenge was, the way Microsoft described it is they forced you in that direction.
Right.
I think people still wanted the choice, but no, there was a lot of forward-thinking ideas there about sharing your games.
It's the natural evolution. It's the natural evolution of everything in media in general.
Exactly. No, and that's what was unfortunate is that the way Microsoft rolled that out was was disappointing to all of us because there were some really sort of forward-thinking ideas there about games. And look, I mean, most of the games I get now, I download or I get a download code for. It's like it's very rare that I put a disc in a drive and play a game that way. So yeah, I think that was forward-looking of Microsoft, but it was unfortunate the way it played out. And you guys saw Don Matrix; he left Zynga now. His next job.
Yeah, right? yeah. We just saw that recently.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
I mean, listen. I mean, look. I don't know what happened at Zynga. I can wish Don the best. Listen, when he was running 360. No. wheels for the 360.
I don't know how the backlash.
Yeah, no, I don't. That's not a good idea to have them.
The inner circle would revolt. There'd be mutiny in the circle.
There'd be mutiny. There would definitely be mutiny if we tried to get Don and Patrick on the show. Nah, that's not gonna be a good look. No, but look, I admit when Don ran 360, there was an awesome period where we got some really awesome games. You know, you look at, like you said, BioShock, you had Ninja Gaiden. There were a lot of exclusives and a lot of games that came on the Xbox One that really set a precedence, really got the Xbox, excuse me, not Xbox One, the Xbox 360, that really got the Xbox 360 recognized by a lot of us who at the time were still on our PS2 phase. And it brought a lot of us into the 360 era. And I think that's how Microsoft was able to capture so much. And then you started getting to the Kinect era and a repeat of some of the, you know, first party games over and over. We weren't getting original IPs anymore. We were losing. They were timed exclusives. I think partially to that had to do with Red Ring of Death, because it's like you have to fix that problem, so you can't invest in new games, you can't invest in IP, because it just was a $3 billion problem. But at the end of the day, the vision, I think, was exactly right. It was ahead of its time. But you look at today, you look at what Nintendo was trying to do with the announcement of the next console they coming out with the NX, and trying to integrate their games with tablets and PCs, and have this now subscription system that they're thinking about building. You have PlayStation with PS Now and the PS View, and you're able to get the games on, you know, Sony televisions or things like that. And then you got Microsoft with you know, the Windows 10 thing. You know, as long as you have Windows 10, you can play games on the Xbox app, crossplay.
Crossplay, yeah.
These companies are branching out from consoles. And the fans, I'm going to tell you right now, hardcore console gamers are not going to like it. But the future, in about, 4, 5, 6 years, when they start working on these next consoles, it's going to be streaming. It's going to be streaming. It's going to be online all the time and download only. I really feel like that. And it's coming sooner rather than later. I just think Microsoft announced their vision too early, and fans, the reception to it of not owning their game, not having that physical disc, was just too dramatic at that point. Yeah.
And Jeff, what do you feel? What do you sit on that?
Sorry, on what was the question?
As far as the next generation of consoles, in your opinion, do you think it's going to be a streaming only type devices or what?
Well, it's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be sort of two camps. I think there's going to be, the phone that's in your pocket, it's only going to increase in power. And I think, once there's lots of rumors that Apple's going to have a new Apple TV with an app store and things like that. And I think what you're going to start to see is, the rise of mobile being sort of airplayed to your television. So you're going to see, I could see a scenario where, you're going to get games on your phone that's, iterated on every year, and you're going to get a Bluetooth controller for that phone, and you're going to be able to sort of play that game on your television, and you'll be playing Call of Duty, on your television, but it's going to be, playing through your phone or your Apple TV. And, it might seem far away now, but I think, by the time of the iPhone 8, that may be as powerful as an Xbox One, because you look at the power of these chips. So I think that's going to start to it'd be interesting. So I think there's going to be a sort of a disintermediation of the console boxes as a necessary prerequisite to be able to play games and high-quality games. And, that actually could be a good thing because, a lot more people have phones and mobile devices than they do have game consoles. And also, Apple, Android, I mean, they update, their OS all the time, and the hardware updates usually once a year for a lot of these platforms. So I think that's going to be one element of the industry that's only going to grow moving forward. I think the traditional console space will still be around. I mean, Nintendo's NX, whatever that is. I think there'll be certain games that, may be so compelling or so unique in terms of how you control them that you will want a dedicated device for that. I think, will there be a PlayStation 5? Probably. Will there be another Xbox? I think so. But I think it'll be, radically different in the approach. And
that's
again,
what
I don't know what Microsoft's roadmap is, but you see how Windows 10 is sort of coming onto the box a little bit more. I imagine what you'll probably see for a new console will be some type of, delivery device that'll stream a lot of games and probably tie into your other devices and your computer. It'll be sort of, it may end up being, just a controller and some type of, box that you hook up to your television. I mean, the hardware, the dirty secret of the console business is the hardware. No one really wants to make it. I mean, you end up losing money on it, at least initially. Really expensive to research that and build that out. So, I don't know. Maybe the next Xbox is literally a controller that you buy, and then you stream all your games to your television through some type of link device. It's just a different model because in traditional console, the way the game companies or the platform holders made their money was they would get a royalty on every disc of game that's sold. But that's now moving to the digital world where Steam takes a percentage of every game that's sold. So I do think that the definition of a game console is going to start to change, and we'll see a blurring between the PC space, the mobile space, and the traditional console space. We're not going to, see the death of games or, the game console business disappear. It's just going to morph and it's going to change. So I don't know how quickly that's going to happen. What I do think is the idea of, the same console platform staying, as a locked target for 5, 6, 7 years is not going to happen. And I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see Xbox, PlayStation, start to iterate on the hardware a lot quicker. I would imagine, I don't know anything, but I would imagine that the Xbox One is going to do a refresh of the box at some point soon, much like they did last generation, because that's it's a big piece of hardware for what's inside of it.
Slim it down. Yeah, slim version.
Exactly. So that's, the slim versions will come, probably for both platforms in the next couple of years. But what'll be interesting is, will they keep the hardware the same, or will, Microsoft say, hey, we actually want to improve the graphics chip? And that's something that, happens all the time in the PC space or in the mobile space, right? I mean, I play a game on an iPhone 6, someone else plays on an iPhone 4. Traditionally consoles have always kept things the same, but I wonder now in the space with so many mobile phones iterating as quickly as they are, would Microsoft do something like say, hey, we're actually going to improve the graphics, or we're going to add more memory to this system? And the challenge is, do you alienate the old consumers who bought the system and they can't upgrade? But I remember that happened on Xbox 360. Remember they brought out the system, and then I think it was maybe a year later, they decided to add an HDMI port to it. And everyone sort of that didn't have an HDMI Xbox was really upset at the time. And the way I remember an executive at Microsoft described it to me was like, well, we see these consoles sort of like cars, and it's like every year there's going to be a new model of this Ford or this BMW that'll come out. It may have some new features, and we may start to upgrade like that. They didn't end up doing that in the Xbox 360 era, but I do wonder, and this is not specific to Xbox, I think it's for every console manufacturer. At what point do you start to kind of improve the hardware? Because I do think it's going to be hard for these systems to stay static for 5+ years in this environment.
I think 5 years is max now. I really do. I mean, it may not be a popular opinion with some of our fans listening, but I think 5 years is the max. They should start to reiterate on new hardware.
Right. It's also 5. The challenge, what sucked about this generation is there was no backwards compatibility. So it's like the idea that, it's insane. Like when I remember a couple years ago, or last year, I wanted to go back and play an Xbox 360 game, and it's like, oh, crap. It's like, I don't want to get my console out to, hook it back up and play it. So I think that's the thing is I hope moving forward that, there'll always be compatibility with all these games, and then maybe people will start to upgrade their hardware. But, it's not like your Xbox One is not going to work, 3 years from now, or it's not going to play new games. It just might not play them as well as the next iteration of a piece of hardware. So I don't know. We haven't heard anything about that yet, and I don't know, if that's something that people will start talking about this year or next year, or it just won't happen. But I'm starting to feel just naturally there's a momentum that if the console space wants to keep up with the level of innovation and iteration in the mobile space, I think the big companies are going to have to start to think more and more about that, and I'm sure they probably are.
I think if they just do what they normally do and recognize that their fans went out and spent $500 on a console with Kinect. We shouldn't have to go out and spend another $400, and you give us some type of voucher incentive if you trade in your Xbox for a new one. You get it for like $150, $175, or something like that. I think fans would flock to do that. I think Xbox fans would flock to do that.
Kind of similar to how they do it in the mobile market, where they trade in your phone for the next iteration.
Exactly.
Well, Geoff, E3 is around the corner. Everyone's doing predictions. And, Tick will be doing our own predictions as well. But since we have you here, who do you think will make the biggest splash at E3? And what third-party game you think will be announced as an exclusive Megaton?
Exclusive Megaton. So what game will make the biggest splash? Wow. It's a little hard to say right now. I mean, on my hunches, it'll be something that we don't know about that hasn't been announced yet. Mm-hmm. Some kind of surprise game. I mean, we know Uncharted will be big. We know Halo will be big. I mean, those are sort of the known quantities. We know Call of Duty will be there. There'll be another Assassins. Hopefully there'll be something that's, comes out of nowhere and just blows people away. Mm-hmm. And that's what we all live for, right? That's what we love at E3 is that, surprise that, right. We didn't know was coming and blows us away. And, what third-party exclusive Megaton will there be? I don't know. I mean, it's tough because I think, I remember there was all the drama around Tomb Raider last year and then Street Fighter. I guess there will be something like that. I don't really love the idea of, games just being on one platform, mm-hmm. and, one audience celebrating, another audience being upset about it.
Yeah.
You want everybody to get a little bit of that.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone should play great games. And, I can tell you a lot of the, people I know who make, first-party games just for one system, nothing pains them more than the fact that there are a bunch of people that are never going to enjoy their game. Like the guys at Naughty Dog, and they don't like that people on Xbox can't play their game. It's just there's benefits to making it just for PlayStation because they can really max out that platform. But I think everyone that is a game maker wants to have as many people experience their games as possible. So, yeah, maybe there'll be a business deal that will shock people that this game is coming exclusively for this period of time on a platform. And I think that's they're cool announcements. I just don't know if there's anything that's really going to shift the momentum dramatically.
You just don't know if there's much weight to it.
Yeah, and it's also Tomb Raider. It's it sounds like it's coming out first on Xbox One, and then maybe on other platforms down the road. And I think that's it's good for Microsoft. They need a game in that genre, and I think it's good for Square that Microsoft's going to promote it and help make that game happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes people don't realize that sometimes those deals are done from a position of weakness on the part of the publisher or developer, right? Street Fighter or even Titanfall. I mean, these were games that probably weren't going to happen without a partner coming in to help make them happen. I mean, I'm sure
to get the funding, necessary funding they needed.
Exactly. So I think it's actually a good thing that these games happen because of these partners. And look, it's competitive, and I know everyone at all the companies, and they love to get a deal and feel that they won E3, and I'm certainly part of that in the media where it's like we're all saying who had the best press conference,
right,
who had the biggest announcements, and it's a point in time, and everyone wants to win, so I get it. But at the end of the day, I just want to see a lot of great games, and after a year where so far there hasn't been a lot of truly amazing stuff, I just want to be inspired and excited about being a gamer, and that's what I want to see at E3.
I think the funny thing is that, and I agree with that sentiment. I think that if you make a third party game, it should be multi-platform regardless of whatever decision it is. Obviously, unless, like you said earlier, financially you don't have the finances to produce the game for multiple consoles, or you get with a partner to help you create the game. And obviously, like you said before, it's easier to create that game on one platform. And you have the financial backing and the marketing you don't have to put into it as a developer. So that saves you some income, or instead of coming out at a loss or something like that. But I think the thing is that I don't see this not happening. I don't see the third party exclusive deals stopping. And that's the thing it's the reason why I kind of brought up the whole Megaton thing, because it's like you had No Man's Sky obviously launching first on the PlayStation initially. not saying that they said that it was going to launch on Xbox, but initially we all felt that it was going to be multi-platform. That's how it was presented, and then it went exclusive, timed exclusive. Then you turn around, Microsoft then announces that they have Elite Dangerous, going exclusively first on console, so the Xbox One. And it just seems like, I don't want to say it's like a tit for tat type of situation. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's really what it is. It's like, what do you do to get as many gamers on your console and say, hey, look, we have these exclusives, plus we got this third-party game that you can't get on any other console for X amount of time, and that may sway some people here and there. Now, is it right?
Yeah,
no, obviously it's not.
I think there's something there, like in the initial years. But look, I mean, most of us that are gamers, like we've made our pick. Either we're going to get one, or we're maybe going to get a second one.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if Tomb Raider being on Xbox by itself is really going to it's going to make a drastic shift in sales, right? I think a lot of core gamers have both systems. Do you guys have PlayStations or no?
Mike has a PlayStation.
I have all the consoles. Yeah.
I only have an Xbox right now.
I'm a multi-console guy, man. I love it all.
Right. So I mean, like, I think a lot of people have all the systems, and it's fun for sort of the the fanboy wars to sort of like see it's like it's a sport, sort of the watch who gets what game and whatnot. But I don't know if there's any game that is really going to dramatically shift the fortunes of a platform. I would say obviously a whole bunch of things put together can really start to move momentum. I mean, even last year Xbox like to talk about how, well, we have lots of great first-party games, so you didn't really have a lot. And I think that was, that was a good point in time for Xbox. I think that's a good story. It's, but I don't know if it's, dramatically shifts anything. I mean, look, this generation, I think Microsoft was in such a hole initially with sort of the perception of just the Xbox brand in general that, they've had to really rebuild. And I think Phil and the team and Aaron and everyone have done a really good job of rebuilding the brand, but they were in a position of weakness, and they sort of have been able to build off that. But yeah, so to answer your question, I think yes, it's there probably will be some third party exclusive deals. I don't know even now, like if the Call of Duty DLC being exclusive to Xbox for 30 days, like I think that's like for a lot of gamers it's more of an annoyance than it is like a huge PlayStation. I don't think PlayStation fans sit there and say, oh my God, I'm not going to get these maps. I have to go buy an Xbox. And they say, hey, I'll wait my 30 days and then I'll play them. So, some of that DLC stuff I think is valuable, but I do wonder at what point does that really, how much does that really matter anymore to gamers?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think that if you're gonna go third party exclusive, to me, you should just lock up the publishing for it. I mean, just keep it on your console. I don't like the whole time thing. I don't like time DLC. I don't like time exclusivity. If you're gonna do it, just go all the way.
Yeah,
I agree.
One of those type of things. Because it makes no sense to have a third party title on your console for a little while, and then everybody's just like, well, I'll just wait. I mean, it's not really pushing any consoles. It may push a few, but not the amount you need to make a momentum shift, like you said. So. Now,
I think, and honestly, most people, a lot of people have two consoles. I mean, they're going to play Halo, they're going to play Uncharted, and I think the thing that sucks for a lot of us more than anything is just all these games end up coming out at the same time, and it's like you have these huge swaths of the year where there's nothing to play, and then all of a sudden,
and then it all just piles up on you in October all the way through December, and you're just left with a mountain of games, and you're like.
Yeah, honestly, even if like Tomb Raider, is exclusive to Xbox, like I may not have time to play it by the time it's out until another platform, which there's so many other games to play.
Right.
I'm playing Halo and all this stuff. So it's like it's a fun game, and listen, I love it just as much as anyone else, but and that's part of the fun of E3 is like this, the theatricality of like what's going to get announced, and which game has done a deal with this person or that person. So that's part of what I love about E3, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there will be deals. I don't know what they're going to be, but you guys will be there. You'll be there live to cheer. Are you going to be in the front row?
We have no idea where we'll be sitting yet. We're still working out the schematics. Be in the
front row. We should be.
Absolutely.
We should be on stage, man.
Well, we should come out and announce a game.
How many people from TIC will be representing you guys at the briefing?
As of right now,
podcasters.
Yeah, it's mostly just the team. It's mostly just the podcast team.
How many? So three
of
guys?
us. Yeah, three of us. Three of us, and we're trying to see if we can get a cameraman. Something that we want to do. We wanted to surprise the fans. Obviously, I might as well say it now. But we were going to try to record everything live and air it over YouTube.
So we see you guys on camera?
Yeah. We'll be on camera. We'll be recording things. We'll have microphones and everything. We'll be on the showroom floor and things like that, and trying to speak to the executives and meeting people and networking and things like that. Just trying to expand Tick Podcast as much as possible.
Wow. Okay, so E3 is gonna be a big moment for you guys.
Oh, it is. It's our first one, man. It's I really wanted to record everything, record the journey. Because we all sat there and we said to ourselves, wow, we never thought that we would be going to E3 from this podcast that we made, just because the reason why we made the podcast is because we felt at the time fans were just uninformed about Xbox. We just wanted to inform fans about Xbox and what was right and what was wrong.
Too much bias. Way too much bias.
Way too much bias.
Wanted to break it up a little bit and provide some positivity about the Xbox platform.
Right.
So
and and in that process, I guess we, the guys at Xbox heard us, and they appreciate the work that we've done, and think we've done a solid job for the community. The fans like what we do. We love what we do, and there's no agenda behind it. We just love it. We just love it as a gamers.
No agenda at all.
Yeah, we just love it as gamers. But I wouldn't sit here and say that I'm not happy that the guys at Microsoft, see the hard work that we're doing and, feel courteous enough to bring us to E3 and show us, what's going on and meet the people and things like that. I think that's really, really awesome.
Incredibly humbled by that.
And very incredibly humbled. And we wouldn't be here without our followers, subbers, and subscribers. And that's just the God honest truth. I mean, we could just be a little old podcast everybody ignores. Nobody really cares about at that point in time. But really, it's really the fans that got us where we are. Obviously, Phil Spencer opened the door, but it's the listeners that are, shouting Tick's name, that are listening to the podcast, subscribing, retweeting, joining us on Twitch streams, looking forward to, asking us, are you on iTunes? Are you on Windows? Are you on Android? Like, that feeling is just amazing. I think one of the greatest things I love is when we do a show and, we'll have a good friend of ours like Tim Dog, who's on Twitter, or something like that. Shout out to Tim Dog. And, he'll be like, hey guys,
is Tim Dog in the Inner Circle?
Oh yeah. As far as being on the show, yeah. I mean, he's a fan of the Inner Circle. There's no doubt about that.
I see. So you're only in the Inner Circle if you've actually been on the show?
No, I would say if you're a fan, if you're a fan, you're in.
If you're a fan, you're in the Inner Circle.
If you're a follower or a listener,
you're a follower or a subscriber to the Inner Circle podcast, you are in the Inner Circle.
Okay, good.
That's how it works.
So Tim Dog's in the circle.
Tim Dog is in the Inner Circle. He just hasn't been on the show yet. I'm going to try to get him on the show. Tim is going to love that. We talked about him so much. I'm telling you. No, but
he's going to go crazy.
He's going to go crazy. No, but he'll tell me, he'll be like, hey, check out Reddit. Or check out NeoGAF, and I'll go on NeoGAF and we'll see people saying, Tick Podcast got another interview with so and so and so, and then the person will be like, well, how the heck did they get this interview with so and so and so? They only have X amount of subscribers. Who are these guys? They're probably working out some type of deal. It's like it's all the speculation about the things that we're doing when really we're just asking people, and people like coming on and talking with us, and that feeling really gets me excited to do more stuff like that, to continue the podcast, get it growing, get the right messages out there, talk about the right topics.
I guess come on, they realize that we are just passionate gamers, and they can tell in our exuberance and the way we talk and the questions we ask and all that stuff, and they just everybody keeps coming back for more, man.
Yeah, so I think that's why we keep doing it, because we do it for the fans. The fans love it. We love it. And look, we're not getting paid for this. Nobody's paying us, anything like that. We just love it because we just love gaming. We love the Xbox platform, and we love the fans. We love our community.
So you guys good to get out to E3? Do we need to start like a
Kickstarter?
Yeah, Kickstarter for you.
No, we actually reached out. We reached out to Microsoft to figure out traveling, because we need to know timing. Obviously, if you're going out, I'm in New York. So a flight from me from New York to Cali, travel expenses, hotel expenses, these are things I need to know early, so that way I can have my finances in order when I get out there. So we're just waiting for them to get back to us.
You guys can you can sell your Connects back and pay for the trip off that.
That's horrible, man.
That's terrible. No.
Do you guys still have your Connects?
No, I love my Connect. My Connect is awesome.
Jeff, I'll be honest, man. I turn mine off. Like I unplug that thing all the time.
What? No, I love my Connect.
Well, no, it's not that I dislike.
What do you play on your Connect?
I don't play anything, but I use it for navigation. It works like a charm.
I've tried it, man. I've tried it. I think I just don't know how to use it. I need to talk to Ben Obi. I need to talk to Ben Obi.
No, you know what it is? I think the problem with the Connect is that you have to say certain things in order for it to work. But I think if it had Cortana, because like when you talk on a Windows phone with Cortana, you can kind of speak naturally, and she'll understand what you want or what you're looking for and kind of find it. I think if they can get to the point to where the Connect is just understand you naturally, where I don't have to say the whole entire game's title. I don't have to say go to so and so and so. I could just say the name or say I want to watch or whatever, and it does it. I think that's when it becomes more fluid and people will appreciate it more.
Yeah.
But but because you have this restrictive language and what you have to say to get things to work properly, I think that's kind of what turns people off. But yeah, as of right now, there's no games for it. But I spoke about Connect and how I think they could use it more properly a while ago. I mean, that's up to the developers to do that. I always felt that the Connect had the opportunity to be special, but people concentrate too much on the camera and don't concentrate enough on the tech of what it can do. I think if they concentrate on where, how it hears you,
exploit how it works best.
Yeah, exploit how it works best.
Exploit it and exploit it well.
Exactly.
That's just not happening.
If it can read your pulse, it can read your heart rate, it can see your body temperature. It can hear the sound where you're coming from in the room. If it can do all those things, why not exploit those strengths? Stop worrying about the motion controls. Just exploit it in a different way. I think no developer has done that yet. That's my opinion on Connect.
Yeah, they're right. When they first revealed the new Connect, they talked a lot about that. How an NPC might realize that you're nervous or you're looking away, and it might call you out or things.
Yeah.
But no games ever really did that. And now I feel unfortunately it's sort of that ship has sailed on the Connect stuff because I don't really hear about any developers using it. But maybe.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
There might be some announcements at E3. Who knows?
Oh, you think so?
I mean, nothing's really been gotten announced for the Connect.
There might be something.
It seems like something's got to be coming. News of some sort.
Yeah, I think so. So, obviously, Jeff, you're going to be at E3, am I right? Are you going to be hosting as usual?
Yeah, so I'll be at E3 this year for sure, doing some great stuff. I can't announce all of it yet, but we'll be live at E3, and I'm really actually excited about some of the things I'm going to do this year. So, stay tuned. We're going to have a big E3, and, I'd love to meet you guys in person, too.
Yeah, I know it's going to be awesome. It's going to be really, really awesome. We're definitely going to try to find everybody that's been on the show, everybody that we've spoken to.
Oh, we should have an Inner Circle meetup or something.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Are you guys are you gonna make Inner Circle shirts? Are you gonna have them in E3?
Yes.
We have shirts. We have
shirts. We actually have a polo shirt deal that we've worked out with a company. So we'll have some polo shirt. We'll have some Tick Podcast polos.
What color? Black?
I don't know what colors yet. We haven't decided on the colors, but we got some.
It's gonna have the logo, be Tick logo.
Yeah, we'll have the logo on there.
I'd say just white and the black,
Yeah, something simple. Something simple to the point. But
two choices maybe or something.
We'll be well represented. We'll be well represented, and we'll be spread out, meeting as many people as possible to bring as much awesome content to our fans. I mean, our whole goal eventually is to start getting announcements made on the channel, just like any other, website, IGN, GameSpot, things like that. That would be awesome.
What would your dream announcement be?
Oh, my dream announcement.
You would tell us something that you
no.
E3. No. That would be a start.
That would be a start. No, definitely. No, my dream announcement would be, honestly, Shenmue exclusively to Xbox One.
Yeah, that would
be my dream announcement.
Like the original Shenmue?
No. It could be Shenmue 1 and 2 remastered. It could be Shenmue 3. It could be anything Shenmue. Letting us know that Shenmue's coming back out and it's on the Xbox One platform and it's exclusive to the Xbox One platform would be big. In my opinion,
honestly, all Phil would have to do is announce it, and then he could just drop the mic on the floor.
And he ain't even got to be on the show. He could be on the show for 2 minutes and just say, "Hey guys, just want to come on and say, Shenmue is going to be on the Xbox One, and we're working on the remakes for 1 and 2." remasters for 1 or 2. All right, you guys have a good one. I'm out of here.
Good.
Peace. That's it. That's all he's got to do. And that's
all Phil has to do to win E3.
That's what I think. That's what he has to do to win E3.
Yeah.
Shit. Here's the 3 games.
That would,
3 games I think that if they announce would just blow everything out the water, and it has to be an exclusive, right? It has to be either it would have to be Shenmue, Fallout. Not Fallout. I'm sorry, not Fallout. It would have to be Shenmue, or it would have to be what is Valve's game?
Half-Life.
Half-Life. It would have to be Half-Life 3, Shenmue, or Final Fantasy 7 redone, completely redone in a next gen setting.
Wow. You think? What if they had all 3 of those?
If they had all 3,
what?
Nah, that'd be out of control. They that wouldn't happen.
We know that wouldn't happen.
That wouldn't happen. No, that wouldn't happen. That's too far fetched.
You don't think Phil Spencer can get all 3 of those done?
I'm not saying he couldn't get it done.
He would really
That'd
have
be
to
too
be on
much.
his game.
That'd be too much.
OT on that.
He's
That'd
working
be too
hard.
much.
Phil's working hard. Come on.
Oh,
No, I
he's
think
working hard, man.
one of the things Phil says is that Phil likes to concentrate on his own IP. That's what Microsoft want to do. So they want to make their own games and
we know Rare is supposed to have a big presence in this show.
Yeah, Rare's going to have a big
Everybody
presence.
knows that.
I think Rare's going to drop Banjo this year. Next year, Conquer and Battletoads. Okay. I know Battletoads is not coming out this year because Ken Lobb told us Battletoads is not coming out this year.
Yeah, I think that's just a 2D side-scrolling download. I think it's a digital download as well. I think
possibly it's possible, but
maybe it'll be Battletoads cross Half-Life 3.
Nah, now you just going too far. Now you're going to the extreme.
I don't know. What are you talking about? Think about that. You could the physics gun. You could fire out toads.
Fire out toads. Nah, I don't think that would happen.
Toad gun. What about a Battletoad gun in Half-Life 3?
Who knew that Geoff was a jokester, man?
I know, right? No, I don't think that would happen. No, but it's I think it'd be cool if they did something like that. Obviously, these are all far-fetched dreams. It's not going to happen, obviously. But I mean.
Why is this not going to happen? Obviously,
you're forgetting Jade Empire.
Phil Spencer.
I have plenty of faith in Phil, but I just don't think he told us that Shenmue's out of the question. He told us that the first time he came on the show.
I'll tell you mine, man. Mine would be Jade Empire.
Jade Empire would be solid.
They would get something with BioWare. That would
BioWare, Knights of the Old Republic, a return to Xbox would be huge too. Knights of the Old Republic 3 would be dope. That would be cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe, what if they had all 5 of those games? You think those are enough? That then the PlayStation fans would go return their consoles to get an Xbox? I
don't think they would return their console, but I can tell you
go pick one up, though.
That they would definitely buy one. They would buy one for those games, without question. They would definitely buy one. I think Microsoft appeal isn't the problem in the US and UK. The appeal is worldwide. The appeal is France, Germany, everywhere else. I want to base that on... And I don't want to be stereotypical because it's an American console, but I think it's partially that and partially that they kind of rub people the wrong way with their original vision. And it's going to be very, very hard to convince people outside of the UK and US that they've changed. But again, money's in software. So I think they're going the right direction with the whole PC Xbox thing. If they can grab the PC market along with the console market as far as software is concerned, Xbox would be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think, Xbox, they're doing good things, right? And I think all of us are fans of games, and, we joke about, this announcement, that announcement. I think it's going to be a good year for gamers no matter what system you play on, and I really do mean that. Hopefully there'll be some cool surprises. But look, Xbox has got a big year with Halo, with Forza, with Tomb Raider. I'm sure some other things, they're going to announce at E3. I think it'll be a good year, and, Let's hope they surprise us, and you guys are you'll see it all live at E3, which is awesome.
Yeah, we definitely will. It's definitely gonna be awesome. Well, Geoff, I want to thank you, man. I really, really appreciate you coming on the show. I had a lot of fun. Great conversation. And hopefully maybe we can get you on either later in the year after E3 and reflect on some of the things that we've seen and talk about what we talked about today, or maybe next year we can have you come on annually just to talk about VGA.
Oh, of course. Guys, I'd love to. I know we got to book these things in advance sometimes, but I'd love to come on when I can. And, we should definitely meet up at E3. I'd love to, at least get a shirt, or maybe we can, I'll meet up at the Xbox booth with, Phil, Aaron, Ken, and I, and we can all hang out, maybe do a video podcast or something.
Wow, that would be so cool.
Yeah, that would be
dope. That would be really epic. Oh man, I'm looking forward to that. We definitely got to do that. So, thanks, man. Really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right.
For the fans, by the fans.